Hey Hound Dogs, this is Julia Canon, and you're on the air with Power Squared. Now, as you can see, we're missing some people today. If you guys don't know, actually, David, Paul, and Trevor, they are at San Diego Comic Con this weekend. And if you guys do want to say hi to them, well, first tell them I said hi, and two, if you do want to see them, they're going to be at the small press area at booth M11. They'll be there if you want to ask them any questions personally, or if you would also like to purchase the comic from them. And sorry, them. So if there's anyone here who is new, first off, welcome. And this is a podcast regarding anything and everything that is about the comic book Power Squared. If you have heard this comic going on, then and you've never heard of the story itself, the story is basically about two boys who basically attain yokai powers from a yokai named Mocha, and the best way for me to describe it without saying any spoilers is chaos ensues. Now, you're hearing me talk about like Power Squared in the comic and just like these guys and where they are. Um, if you guys don't know who I am, oh hello, Larissa Bella. Um, If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Julia Canon, and I am the colorist of Power Squared. Uh, Sometimes I take over from time to time on their podcast to just give them a stream to do when they're not around. So I figured today, if you guys weren't here like a couple years ago, I would like to show you a bit of my process in terms of like how the coloring is done for the comic. So if you guys are also curious about like how coloring is done for a comic book or just the process of it, you've come to the right place. Uh, and for Okay, so like if anyone's ever asking, if you guys are ever wondering, me along with the artist Jen Moreno, we do use a program called Clip Studio Paint to get our work done. Um, we each have like our own different like ways of doing things. So I'd like to show you a bit of like how we do the coloring. Like I said, if you guys weren't here a couple years ago about the whole thing when I did it the first time when the guys were here, this will be a quick little refresher and a bit of like basically what I do now because obviously over years like my process has changed over time. Um, so this is one of the pages that we have right now for I believe it is going to be issue 29. Yeah, we do the issues like over time and we're always ahead obviously ahead from our like whenever we do release the comic eventually. So as you can see, this is the finished inks from our wonderful artist Jen Moreno. Um, Basically, what happens is she does the sketches and the ink work for the comic, and then after they're done, they are sent to me. Give them a bit of life with some color. Um, so how I usually do this is first I prep the work. So the way I prep the canvas is um when I get them back, usually I receive them via TIFF files. It's just like any other type of like image format. Like when you get like a JPEG or a PNG or like like a photo. So the way I prep this is first I want to get rid of the white. So say if I put like an this, you're not gonna see anything right now. Purple is selected right now. Nothing's gonna happen if I were to like try to color in beforehand. See, like I'm coloring in purple, but if you were to it, there's uh so the way it'll happen is I'm the way I would do it is I would select the layer that has all of the rasterized white. I would select on Clip Studio. There's something you can do where you select layer, then you basically scroll all the way down. Oh, I'm sorry, it was edit and convert bright. So let's rewind a bit. Go to edit and convert brightness opacity. So when you do that, you get rid. It basically absorbs all of the white out, and you get nothing. Basically, get the line work. So that way, you can color under it. It's a good little way to keep it, because there is another way that I used to do before. But before we get into anything more, why don't we check on the guys first before we get into anything further? If you guys are just tuning in, the guys are over at San Diego Comic Con, over at Small Press at on booth M11. So by the looks of it, they want to say hello. So let's go and say hi.
Well,
Oh, oops, there we go. Hi, hey David, where's everybody?
hi, what's everybody? They're actually in panels at the moment.
Oh, there are some panels. Which
Uh,
ones?
uh, vertical, virtual circus.
Amazing. Is it like wait,
I think
amazing?
it's what the
Wait, amazing digital circus?
amazing
Oh, I didn't know there
digital
was a
circus. That's
panel.
it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Nice.
So they're ready to get to be here, man. In the booth. So
Okay.
yeah,
You left Dad in charge.
yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, like how's it going over there? Over at you guys are over at a small press, right? At M11.
I'm 11.
Gotcha.
Uh, you can see it's kind of noisy.
Mhm.
There's people, panels on both sides of us.
Yeah.
Uh, let me see if I can first see over here. At the booth at the moment.
Oh, nice. You guys got the Roku working?
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
that is cool.
so we're showing all four of
Hi.
the character videos that we've done. Hi. Oh, thanks. Um, I'm on a little podcast. We do with some returning customers.
Hi.
She bought the first 5 issues. I guess we're back by more.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great. All right. Yeah. 6 through 25. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you can let me see if I can turn around and show you the. So
Oh, wow. It
kind
looks pretty
of get an
crowded
idea.
there.
Yeah, pretty pretty busy.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Uh,
like usually with like Comic Con, it gets pretty bustling during the first couple of days, right?
yeah, this is Friday. Saturday's supposed to be the big day
Oh,
because everybody has the day off.
yeah.
So this is Friday's bigger than Thursday. Saturday's
Mhm.
the big day.
Yeah.
Sunday is not quite as big and bustling.
Mhm. Yeah, I've actually was a little bit curious about this one. So
Uh,
you guys are part of Small Press, right?
yes,
So is there like a huge is
we
there like
found out
yeah,
rows and
so
rows of it.
yeah, like was there is there like a huge difference between like say Small Press and like Artist Alley per se?
Uh, Artist Alley is it. Okay, so we get like a 6 foot table that we
Mhm.
pay for. Artist Alley, I think, is a 3 foot table, and you get it free.
Oh, I see.
I'm not sure if it's always free or not. Then there's
Gotcha.
exhibitors, which get an 8 foot table. We get no. We don't get electricity, so we have to have a little power pack to run to.
Gotcha.
And so we've had a pretty uh, good day so far. Obviously, this person buys 25 issues.
That's always good to hear.
So, it's, yeah, this has been more. It's been better than WonderCon was for us. WonderCon was a little was much slower.
Yeah.
We're sort of in a better spot.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't know. Let me see. again, show you. Uh, First, the Bay Cafe. You see where people are coming in?
Hang on one sec. You're loading
You
for
see where
me.
people?
Oh, hello.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, that's where everybody comes down to the floor from sales pavilion,
Mhm.
and then really close to that. And WonderCon is yours far away from the entrance as possibly close.
Mhm.
Like, hey, tell it what you want. But the first one to look up, I can see the last
Any questions yet?
No, that was like the main question I had. But other than that, like things have been doing good. You guys are still alive.
Yeah, we're surviving.
That's
It's
all
long.
good.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's different on this side of the table, so to speak.
Mhm.
You know, we used to come here and be attendees. Now we're a little more booth bound, I'll say. But
Mhm.
I've been able to see a pretty good chunk of the floor.
Mhm.
Uh, we're doing sort of shifts, I guess.
Okay. So
There's a
like,
really cool Lego.
oh nice. So basically, when they're done with the American Digital Circus, you're gonna go off to your own panel you want to go to.
Uh, well, actually, the show closes at 7 tonight,
Oh, okay.
so we'll just go off and have dinner.
Okay.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it was nice
Uh,
hearing from you. I'm glad you guys are still alive.
well, all right. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, of course.
See you soon.
Yeah, I'll
All
see
right.
you when you get back here. Stay hydrated.
Bye. All right.
Okay, bye. Okay, so that was David Hankins. If you guys don't know him, um, he's like he's basically one of the main writers of Power Squared. Figured it was good to check in on him before like things got super hectic over at Comic Con. But back to what we were talking about earlier. Um, basically, like I said, if you guys are just tuning in, I'm Julia Canon. I am the colorist of Power Squared, and I'm just gonna be showing you a little bit of a behind the scenes of how it works to like basically color this and like just to get you a good idea, like just to give you a bit of like a process, like the process of how it works. So going back to it, if you guys weren't here earlier, I get whenever I get the inks back, I get them back in a TIFF format, which is basically their preferred way of getting everything done. So what I did earlier is basically I get this back. I get the inks as so as a TIFF file with the white background. Now what I want to do is I want to color over it. So if you see me here coloring it with purple, you can't see it. So when you do that, obviously you can't see the purple behind it. I'm like toggling with this layer right now. You can't see it. So there was one way that I used to do it where I would select the line work layer and then set it to multiply, and then like you could see it. But as time went on and like I started like wanting to do more with coloring with it and just like wanting to do the same effects that the prior colorist did before me, I wanted I could do it, but I couldn't really color the line work itself. Like if I were to try to like color this, if I were to try to like color this, like obviously it's not going to show. It's not going to be good, even if I were to like say alpha lock this layer and then try to color it. It wouldn't go. There there are ways to go around it, but sometimes it ends up messing with the color quality of it, at least for me anyway. So a good way to basically go past all that is like I keep it all on normal, and then when I want to color over it, I do this thing now where I select the layer that has all of the line work, and then I basically go to edit and convert brightness to opacity. That basically gets rid of all the white. It absorbs all of the white as multiply would, but it does it in a way where it also erases it. So now I can actually color under it without worrying about it. So like if I'm putting the line work here, I'm putting it under it. then I can basically color under it to that. Another thing I usually do now is I try to fill in objects in its entirety first before I go into detailing. So, a good example is I usually start with the people on the set, on the scenes themselves. The way I do that nowadays is I do one of two things. One of them is this, where if I go into draw, if I go into fill and lasso fill, I can select certain chunks of it per se, but that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is I would select the layer and then I would select this little thing and that says set as reference layer, the one that looks like a little lighthouse under the layers. I'll select that as my reference layer and then go into the fill tool, and then basically fill it up from there. It makes it faster. It makes it faster to have everything set. And before you say like, oh, like Julia, why don't you don't you usually have all the different colors in different layers? Are you going to do that now? I'll get to that in a second. So like when I do this, it gets a good chunk. You guys can see that underneath that like there's like some little blotches here and there. That is what the lasso fill is for. This is all on default Clip Studio now, so it should be within the fill tool layer, and then there should be a subtool called a lasso fill. So what I do there is what you see earlier is it just automatically fills it for you without like, oh, when you do that, um just fills it up. It's like you and what I do is I basically just fill in the parts that are social here, here, else, oh, here around the buttons. Sometimes the fill tool isn't. What we do or what I do is I uh I go where the fill tool could. There are ways to like tweak it so it'll fill in everything dry. But if I'm speaking for myself here, I don't like tweaking with it every single time because quite frankly it also just depends on like how your line work is at. Working with I don't want to keep on like always tweak left and right. Sometimes the quote unquote like I guess not redundant. The quote unquote longer ways to do things is usually the best way. At least for me anyway. Everyone has their own ways of doing things. My way of doing it. Um so with that, yeah, so like the way I start off with everything just to get a good ground is I basically fill in everything, all of the objects what I want to do. So like I said, the ones are the people. They'll be Marty, Eli, Mocha, Atlas. And the way I do it is I don't put it all everywhere. I don't do it everywhere. So for these certain situations, I'm only going to have Atlas, Marty, and Eli in one layer. So that way I can color in Mocha behind later. It works well in the scheme of things for me, especially once I start doing shadowing and stuff. So that way everything stays in its neat style. Going back here, so there's Atlas. Oh, just go here. Um, yeah. So like this is basically what happened. Like what I do. Page. I go from people to background, and then people, and then like objects, like inanimate objects, background, and that's how I work. Sometimes I'll start doing the shadowing beforehand. Some days I won't do it. It just depends on um it just depends on each page and how the layout. So in this instance, it's pretty straightforward. Making sure oops, all of the stuff. So if you notice here, there is a bit of a gap here. So the way I fix those most of the time is I just select the pen, and I just fill it up here, there, and I just there. Sometimes when you have fill tools, whether if it's by human error or just an artistic take, which is also a valid thing. That'll do it. So after I fill it in there, it we don't have to worry about that. It'll all stay in here. So yeah. Then once it's done, I go back to lasso fill in the gaps from that. Some people say that like coloring is not really their favorite, but I think for me, I think it's just because I've been doing this for the past few years with for the guys. But for me personally, I think it's one of I personally like seeing all come and just like where all the shadows go and just putting everything where I want it to be and also so like there's like at least for me I get it. I looking up at out. Getting like the smaller piece there, it may not be relevant at all, but to there we go. Thick is yeah. So obviously I'm not gonna like unfortunately I'm not gonna be doing the entire page. This is like a bit of like a small little process of or what I do anyway. So after just having the first initial fill in for the colors. Obviously, this isn't going to be the for the this isn't going to be the official colors of the characters per se. It's just a layout first. So after putting all this, what I would do next is I'm going to create a folder layer, and that's going to be basically for the in here. So after I do that, I alpha lock the layer that's purple right now. What I'm going to do next, basically fill it out via the reference tool. Now, unfortunately, I did have some technical issues like a while back, so I had to reformat everything. So it's gonna take a minute to it's gonna take a minute for me to have all the references, but like all the references back into thing. But a good thing to do sometimes have like colors in. Some people do is, and what I used to do a lot is I would have the color palette here, and then I would put like all the colors in little blobs here, and that way when I right click it, it would just select the for me. But nowadays I do this. I have to make which where which you could show by clicking the Windows tab. then going to subview, subtool. Subview. Subview is basically a reference thing where you can import your references. So subview right here. And basically wherever your references are on your computer, you can select the image that way. So if I going into my thing, and I select these layers, or I select these references, it'll open up the references for me. So I open plus. I have some for Dr. Atlas and Inspector Miller. I have another one Atlas, and then I have Eli and Marty. And so right now I want to work on Atlas. Basically have all of the thanks to our former artist Rachel Wells. She's the one who, or they are the ones that on here made the references here for Dr. Atlas, Mocha, Marty, and Eli. So yeah, so I'll be using this reference. So basically, what I do first is I'll take the color, the skin tone. I'll be taking the skin tone and I'll be going back to the lasso tool. I'll take I'll fill it out that way first. Wrong layer. Fill it out first. This is just like a visual guide for me. Characters. Like I first time. Okay. That I just select the that way. And then what I do just to make sure things go okay is in this folder where everything is, I create more layers. So I'm gonna put a layer on top of the purple fill, and I'm going to do something called clipping it. Clipping it basically means that everything you draw on, and if you have a new layer on top of it and it's clipped over it, everything is. So when I color in air part, basically that I split up and I got overstepping. That's why I did the initial pass with the purple. That way everything together. So just so I can show you at least the process of like one part, like this one part of like of coloring, if not the entire thing. Um, let's just concentrate on this layer. So for this one, I'm gonna be coloring in where glasses. And then I'm gonna create another layer. Oh, just basically just a layer system. So I'm coloring under all of this. It doesn't show over top anything colored beforehand. Like I said, sometimes. And there we have a coloring Dr. Atlas. Um, and then after coloring in that, basically goes down to the rest of it. So usually when this happens too, what I'll usually end up doing, I'll create a little, I'll create a little barrier just so in case I color outside of the panel. This is like my first line. So what I'll do is I'll just it like this, split up. Then you'll see just the outside of the pen. After I do that, I just go back, basically up to match to what they want when it gets printed. So next thing, after filling it up here, I'll work on background next. That's basically sometimes it's me just figuring out what the color should be, while other times there's already a set up. There's already a set. So this time around, it's a bit background. Probably in the rest of them. Colors will usually be set depending on what I think will look right together, or just or just like what the guys want. So things are always subject to change, whether if it's my own artistic um perspective or maybe the guys want something different. It's always going to be a different ballgame depending on the issue and the pages. So it always always keep that in mind when working on projects like this. So. And I'm gonna keep the dark brown, but that. And usually just I've been used to it for so long, so it could be workloads. But like sometimes you'll see me like putting like a bunch of different. Sometimes that's a good thing, bad thing, which is how I've grown used to it, and me myself, I know where everything. I'll have like some stuff on, like some coloring on the color stuff. Then I'll just work from it. Just it's also just a thing, just so I don't have like 1 million layers at the end of the day, and it's just more of a personal and how my workspace. So um, so like here, so I have the work of the outside because side. There's the wall, and then here's the barricades from. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like they were so like black. Get this situation. Like this is basically every single time whenever I work on around with color, fine tweaking it once I have like a plethora of pages of this issue done. It's just a little. It's is it a bit chaotic? Yes, but we like. I like to have fun here, at least in terms of having my work. So, um, for the sake of this little demo, I have it. So let's just. So we have it. So it is I have it. So it's basically here. It's basically like a or I'm sorry, not page panel. So whenever whenever I do have all of it together, that's when I start working on um that's when I start working on the coloring. So for the coloring, I do have a certain I have a specific little chart that I follow um from from a guide that they gave me. So basically not all I don't think all not all of them will have like not all projects will have this type of sometimes you're going to be the one making the guide, but when I first started I was fortunate to have a guide. So basically the guide shows like how the colors before me basically colored beforehand, and they gave me a guide and who like the color swatches for all the characters that those currently there, and how the how the shading works. So so by the looks of it here, well, it's a bit of a technical thing here, so you don't understand totally fine. So it shows here how they did the coloring, which they used a certain color here, and then they put the layer in a certain effect that the colors with everything. Let me just show you real quick what they mean. So, I don't know where I put my original. For now, until I proper image. Let's. So I basically have the color swatch for shadow. So for the shadows, I'll select the color that they chose, and it says here that it's going to be set at multiply at 60 to 70%. That's just to show how much of like I guess like just in a normal lighting, just how it is normal. So I'm gonna play around with the atlas right here. And then I'm gonna go on top of this folder right here. And then I'm going to clip a layer on top of this folder. It's in this vein. And then I'm going to set that layer to multiply. It told me to. So now when I set it to multiply, I can show you when you don't set it to when you don't set it to multiply, it's gonna be a regular it's not really doing itself, but hear me out. We'll turn obviously you would want to like here is his then when I set the layer to multiply, there. It absorbs into the colors themselves and then so here, like here. Yeah, it has. Yeah, sometimes I'll go in with brush to like help them a bit more without blending. Like I do like the sharp, like also just kind of melt them together just a bit. So after doing that, according to the guide, it says to always like, keep it all cohesive. It's always multiply at. That basically means that they put the opacity of that layer to about 60 to 70. Now it's not too the right amount of. Then I would do the same stuff here. Or apply. Then for for uh for like for backgrounds, I do like I do a bit simplified where I sometimes I'll just airbrush if it's a wall, and obviously if it's more this, I'll go into fill tool, lasso fill. So, like I said, it's just more of like find obviously knowing where lighting is, playing around with it. And afterwards, I mainly keep the lighting with just the characters, but obviously there are points to put it in background. But for the most part, lighting would just be good for. So the way they handle lighting, aside from like finish the shadowing, I do lighting. So lighting and highlights is this little or this yellow color right here. The way I do a basically here, then I put it on overlay like the here overlay. Actually, I'll do it again like with multiple. I have it on overlay. Let's then I usually the highlights for like a cell shading help the you have to learn where the colors go. So when I do that, I'm going to be putting it on the glasses as well, along with that. And then let's put on the face here. Since I have the shadows here, I'm not going to do it for all of this, but just to kind of prove it. So like, let's do a little bit of highlighting here. Put on the skin. So yeah, that shows a bit of like highlight and like, stuff like that, but it still doesn't look as cohesive. Like normal lighting, I guess. Well, the way we do that is there we go. So after I would take care of the lighting, let's put it on overlay. So when you put on overlay, it does this, where it also melts into itself. So when they put overlay, they put it around 40%. So when I so let's have a 54% at 40, pretty subtle, but it still shows like and sometimes and yeah. So basically, this is what I do for each panel until the page. That I keep on doing this until the entire issue is done. So basically, this is how panel 1 works. And then it just keeps on going for all of it here. Basically, what I do for each panel, like obviously some panels are gonna have more details than others. Like I said, it's different for each. But this is like basically this is like the bare basics of how I start off with. And then I just like cut and paste, repeat panel and work. But yeah, like if there's any differences from what I did last time, if you guys are here from before, welcome. You guys comment on like what looks better to do now than what I did like a few years ago. But yeah, this is basically how the coloring gets done with Power Squared. And if you guys have any questions on over on YouTube, just feel free to comment and I'll do my best to answer. I'm under the handle of Blythe POV, so if you get a reply from that one's from me. But yeah, and with that, I think it's best to stop the stream now. And if you guys are currently watching, give the channel a follow to watch the next stream. I most likely will not be here, but the boys will definitely be back from Comic-Con. Yeah. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, be sure to like that button and subscribe for more future content. And with that, I'm Julia Canon, and you've been on the air with Power Squared. Hope you guys have a fantastic evening, day, morning, whatever time it is for you. See you guys next time.